Absolutely, Dudu. In fact, just about 20 minutes ago, some of the rescuers we were with got a call that a woman is trapped inside this house. My colleague Spongiseni Kupande is showing you one of the rescuers. He's just trying to make his way to the entrance. And right now it's unsure whether the woman is towards the front or the back of the house. Look at the water that he's wading through. It's above his knee and the whole area has been submerged in water. Ourselves, we had to wade through deep waters to actually get to the porch of this house we're at. The woman is trapped in the house where this man is and is just trying to find some kind of entrance to rescue this woman. Her husband had come to the Ladysmith sports complex where some of the rescuers are frantically asking for help, saying that he doesn't know how to get his wife outside her home. We understand that she can't open her door because the water would just flood through her home. She doesn't know how to get out. This is the situation that has been playing out across Ladysmith. I can hear shouting. It seems like the husband, who quickly rushed to the aid of his wife, is shouting for help. So they're trying to search for her and see if she's okay. It's unclear what state the woman is in, but we're trying to find out how we can get to her, how the rescuers actually can get to her. Due to the scenes you are seeing right now are scenes that have been playing across this town of Ladysmith in the KwaZulu-Natal inlands. Over the past day, we've heard how residents mostly on Forbes Street, which is the street we're on now, this is a house on Forbes Street, have been either trapped inside their homes or fortunately managed to evacuate because of the flooding. Now, just next to this road is a major river, of which the banks overflowed, or the water overflowed across the banks. And according to the local mayor, the road itself is situated below the river. So when the river overflows, the water collects onto this road. It's a major issue they have, and of course they need to now rebuild the banks to try and withstand the severity of the natural disasters causing these major floodings. This is how the rescue missions have been ongoing for the better part of last night as well as early this morning, where you see the rescuers wading through water, quite deep, trying to find people to rescue. More than 70 people have been rescued around this area, including children, women, men who were trapped in their houses. It seems like they may have found the woman. It is too dangerous for us to actually go through that specific area. We don't have the correct equipment to do so, but residents for the most part have been basically trapped in these situations. We were at the sports complex much earlier on today, where one woman, Hlengiwe, told us about how she fortunately managed to escape her home as water was flooding through, but everything in her home has been destroyed. Her fridge, her bed, all soaked with water, and she doesn't know what she's going to do. She sought shelter at that sports complex where some relief is being offered to citizens, but at this point, though, it is questions up in there of what are the residents of Forbes Street going to do going forward. And that is the situation on the ground. This town has been declared a state of disaster, and you can really see why. Absolute destruction. Homes have been destroyed. Local businesses especially have been destroyed. We can hear some of the shouting of, it seems like, people who are trying to locate this woman around us. And of course, at this point, they don't know exactly which part of the house she is, so they're trying to find her. They've managed to rescue the woman. They've managed to get her to safety. She's been led. That's her husband, who frantically came to the complex saying, "Please come, my wife is stuck inside this house." And you can see how she's being led by her husband and one of the rescue teams, led to safety. Fortunately, it doesn't look like she's been injured, but of course when she comes closer, we'll just see. Absolutely traumatizing visuals. Let's listen. Managing to get to safety, hopefully, as they come through. So you've managed to find your wife finally.
Sorry?
You've managed to find your wife finally.
Yes, hey, finally.
Yes.
Thanks God.
Ma'am, are you okay?
Yes.
You were trapped inside your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you were walking through, tell us what happened, ma'am.
What happened, Sisi?
Bengakhona ukuphuma endlini, amanzi agcwele ngaphakathi.
Okay, there was no way to come out because the water was into the house.
Were you injured, ma'am?
Limalile. She got hurt on her right, on the forehead and on her leg as well.
Okay. Let's get you to safety. Let's get you out of these waters quickly. Actually, let's ensure that this woman is getting the medical attention that she needs, and we'll obviously speak to her husband. He's leading her out of these waters that are over his knee. They have the stick with them to guide them through the muddy pool that's here. Water coming even over a step. Be careful they don't trip. I can see there's a big scar on the lady's knee. So it must be burning. And of course she must immediately actually get that treated, because you can imagine this water is not clean. You can see she's wounded on her knee. We'll hear their story as soon as they're taken to safety. One of the rescues happening right here. This is how the rescues... I see even her ankles as well, bruised. You'll see closely, her ankles are bruised completely. Fortunately, she's been rescued, will be taken to safety. We'll follow them and hear their story. This is what's happening here in this town of Ladysmith. The town now declared a state of disaster right now. More people are being evacuated. Fortunately, no one has passed away here, and as rescue teams continue doing the work, we'll see how and what will happen going forward as this town tries to recover from these storms.
Karinda, before we let you go, we saw similar scenes in Ladysmith last year, and the mayor of Ladysmith admitting that to you. What did he tell us in terms of what was done, with this latest incident? Yes, a river burst its banks, and so perhaps, there were other factors to take into consideration. But what did we hear from that mayor in terms of the lessons learned from the past couple of years?
Absolutely. As I chat to you about this, my colleague Spongiseni Nkubande will show you some of the floods around this particular house, which would make you understand how this woman was trapped. So the newly elected Alfred Duma local municipality mayor, Zama Sibisi, told us earlier that these floods happen regularly during the summer rains, heavy rains, and of course over the recent years, because of global warming, we're seeing the weather patterns becoming much more severe, the storms becoming more severe, and so the torrential rain leads to the banks, or rather the river, becoming full. It overflows over its banks. And what has happened is that the roads around the river itself is actually settled on a lower ground than the river. And so when the river overflows its banks, the water comes onto these roads and localized floodings occur. I asked the mayor about drainage system issues. He denied that there was actually any issue with the drainage systems. He said that the drainage systems actually are just not conducive to the natural disasters we are seeing, and that this kind of disaster was not actually expected. But going forward, what he did say is that tomorrow there will be teams in place to start assessing or further assessing the damage being done. We were at the Disaster Management Center of the uThukela District Municipality, which operates disaster management, and there were a number of meetings from this morning by various organizations, first discussing rescue missions, but I understand going forward we'll now be discussing the recovery process in terms of getting this water out. For it to naturally come about, of course, it's going to take quite some time, so they will need machinery to come through and try and remove a lot of this water that's flooded around this area. That will need to be done before the economic damage can be assessed, and then the homeowners, the residents, the business owners can actually assess the damage being done to their infrastructure and now try and recuperate and rebuild.
Karinda Jagmohan, so as we understand it, 25 people in KwaZulu-Natal losing their lives. Newzroom Afrika giving you a front row seat of the trail of devastation that has been left by those waters. My colleague Karinda Jagmohan keeping an eye on developments there for us, so you do stay safe. We'll touch base with you a little